I think almost all of us are familiar with Jack Chick.
When I first saw a Jack Chick tract, I was 8 years old. Okay, I remember seeing it. I remember somebody left it on our sofa in our house. Somebody, one of my mom's friends was visiting. I'm a little bitty boy, and I pick up. It's a comic book, right? And I pick it up and I look at it, and I wasn't 2 pages into it before I realized, at 8 years old, this man is insane.
Yeah,
this is propaganda.
This man is full of hatred. That's all it was. It was hatred and insanity, and it was completely wrong. And what child my age couldn't tell that? And I was looking around for a room full of adults who couldn't tell that.
Right.
Yeah. It's Jack Chick is famous for his anti-Catholicism views. I have a Christian friend who didn't know who Jack Chick was and wasn't familiar with Chick Tracts.
You need to look up chick.com, CHICK.
I'm already there.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you. I'm telling the listeners.
Yeah.
Chick.com. They have a listing of their tracts that they want people to hand out. Now, you really need to look at these tracts. In one of them, it labels all of the Hindu gods as being created by Satan, and that was the tract that actually got me onto YouTube.
Yeah, and you can read the tracts there. He wasn't familiar with Jack Chick or Chick Tracts, but Jack Chick has also done bigger comic books. And when he was a kid, he remembered this religious comic book that was bloody and gruesome and gave him nightmares for weeks. Had no idea who it was. So when he heard me talking about Jack Chick Tracts, we went and looked, and the comic book that had given him nightmares is actually there, and it's one of the ones. Wow. But the reason I bring this up is that Jack Chick has a tract called The Death Cookie, which is about the Eucharist. And it's one of his many anti-Catholic messages.
These tracts are anti-lesbian, anti-feminism, anti-American, anti-Catholicism, anti-everybody but Chick tract.
Yeah. So,
isn't it interesting that P.Z. Myers came under so much criticism for basically throwing a wafer in the trash with some other stuff, whereas Jack Chick pretty much skates by writing an entire book about how it's all satanic.
He just referred to the third largest religion on earth as Satanists.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was a little bit of a political faux pas.
But apparently not.
Yeah, I mean, if an
there's close to 1 billion people there that just might want to take offense to that comment. Hey. Fortunately for you, most of them are pacifists.
So the story here, I had Jack Chick Tracts when I was a kid, and I was raised Southern Baptist. Mm-hmm. Southern Baptist churches often buy Chick Tracts in bulk and pass them out. I had tons of them when I was a kid, handed them out, got them in Easter baskets and, Halloween baskets, even though I remember getting the anti-Halloween Chick Tract on Halloween. But a Baptist pastor in Tennessee says he now regrets that his church distributed an anti-Catholic leaflet.
Oh, really?
They passed out the Death Cookie tract because it was one of they just...
Yeah, sure.
We're going to buy 10,000 of these Chick Tracts in an assortment, and we're just going to hand them out to people. Well, they started pissing off the Catholics in the area because they're handing out these anti-Catholic... and so the pastor... in typical Weasley Baptist fashion, I'm speaking from experience, says, looking back, I don't think it was the right tract to give out.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yes.
There isn't a right Chick tract to give out for anything. And any Christian that would somehow have been able to listen to this show up to this point, you really need to look up Chick tracts. I try to encourage every believer that I meet to please look at Chick Tracts. Please actually watch the Trinity Broadcasting Network. Pay attention to what Pat Robertson actually says, because when he goes and tells his 30,000 some odd subscribers to go out and kill homosexuals wherever you find them, which is what he said in 1994, it seems to me that only atheists are sitting around remembering that he ever said that. And if you don't have your VCR on, well, then you got a hard time proving it. And if you have your VCR on, you can't get anybody else to watch it.
The tract itself says that the devil made a pact with the Pope to take over the world through a false god, the wafer god, the greatest religious con job in history.
Which just calls me back to when... never mind.
I get the impression, reading Chick Tracts is like sawing Fred Phelps' skull open and looking.